Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And in this video, you're going to hear exactly how I feel about the digital asset XRP in a snippet of a live interview I gave 3 weeks ago. It was hosted by Ansley Bullion, an Australian company that operates in Brisbane, Melbourne, and the Gold Coast. They're a very excellent OTC desk, and they've been in operation for nearly 4 decades. And with me in that snippet was Matt, who works for Ainsley. You can see him on the top left. Last year, Matt and I worked together with the team of Wave of Innovation. I was a director, and it's a not-for-profit organization. Everyone on that team put in hundreds of non-paid hours, if not thousands in some cases, to put on that conference on the Gold Coast of Australia. This year, I am working more on Onami Press. I wish the new team great success as they move the new event to Sydney, Australia. But let's get down to some of the more dramatic conversation that's taken place on X. I think that, yes, the XRP Don had a point when he said that I've been around a long time and that he believes that I knew that Scott Melker, the Wolf of Wall Street, his questions were for engagement. But even if that's true, the answers that Joel Katz or David Schwartz gave, which is the CTO of Ripple, and Santiago, those responses, were true leadership, seizing the chance to educate Scott's massive audience. He has more than 1 million people who follow him. So I think having those very serious answers, that demonstrates true intellect. And David Schwartz is really super fired up. I mean, he is now so active on Twitter in the last 24 hours, answering tons of questions still from Scott. And as John Deaton says, it's an example of why Joel Katz is so revered in the world of crypto, especially in the XRP community. I should make it very clear that please don't follow me if you want XRP predictions of $1,000. And if you're not interested in tech or decentralization doesn't matter, no, you want to follow me if you're interested in all blockchains and you dislike maximalism and you believe in the democratization of finance. I want to tell you that my account on X grew 500 followers in the last 24 hours. Thank you very much. And if you really want to follow the developers who are writing code on the ledger, well, you need to follow XRPL Japan. They are doing tons of hackathons where coding occurs, and they've got a big one coming up in a collaboration with SBI Ripple Asia and XRPL Commons. That is really become a premier accelerator for the ledger out of Paris, France. Now, even though the XRP ledger only has 62 full-time developers, and yes, I'll show you where that information comes from, and it is in spite of the claims of people who say they've brought on 100,000 developers. I want to take a position on the digital asset XRP because of the institutional participants. And as David Schwartz said today, institutional adoption is needed to pave the way for the next wave of retail adoption. The quality go-to source and the standard for this data comes from Electric Capital, who puts a developer report together every year and also tracks the developer activity on 100 plus chains on an ongoing basis. They track full-time devs, monthly active devs, the total repos, and the total commits. You'll find also some fresh data from Artemis Terminal along with Electric Capital, where they show weekly active crypto developers has fallen from 12,000 in April of 2024 to just 7,290 as of March 2025. That's a 40% decrease. And unfortunately, active devs continue to decline in this entire blockchain ecosystem. The generative AI industry is siphoning off much of that activity, And so again, you can check any chain, and I'll put that report or the link to that report in the description of this video. And as some of you may know, I have started a second channel called Three Big Waves Media, and I did so with Jungle Inc. And we have a brand new video that will be uploaded on X and on my Patreon this weekend. It is with Near Protocol, who they are doing just remarkable work for the use of AI agents on the XRP ledger and also Flare Finance and also many other blockchains. And should you be going to the Ripple event called Swell in New York City on November 3rd through the 5th, you can meet Lantern Finance, our sponsor of that video. I think this year's Swell is going to be, just incredible. The speaker lineup is so impressive. I just can't wait to get a report. One of my co-founders will be there and have boots on the ground. So if you are going or you do attend, I'd love to hear all about it. The Zhao DAO is on their way to 1,000 members. And why is the goal of 1,000 so important? Well, that's when the Zhao DAO members will officially be able to participate in the decentralized governance, which includes submitting proposals. And this is something that's been codified so that no single member can exceed the 0.1% of the total votes. And that's done to cap the XRP whales that may, influence too much of everything. So it translates to this waiting until 1,000 members join. So if you haven't joined yet, yes, you definitely do check it out and make that consideration. And now that clip to find out, exactly how I feel about XRP. This was the live space that was recorded about 3 weeks ago. All right, everybody, until next time, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye. Well, the asset itself, which is the native asset to the XRP ledger, is part of an open source chain that's been around for many years, back all the way from 2012. It's been battle tested. It is really fast. It transacts at a very low cost, fractions of a penny. Each time it does transact, a tiny bit of that native asset is burned. So it's a deflationary token, which is important. Not all blockchains out there are built that way. So it is has a little bit of a unique consensus too, different than Ethereum, different than Bitcoin. It is it's quite special, and the people who built it are quite special. There are 3 of them that are really credited to bringing it to the market, and that is Jed McCaleb, Arthur Brito, and David Short. Some of the brightest minds in the cryptography space, and they really did set out to build a better Bitcoin. Now, the utility of XRP, the digital asset, of course, prevents spam. That was its first utility. And then later on, it became something that was used in payments, and it is really something that can be used as a bridge asset to bridge itself between 2 different sovereign currencies. And most recently, the utility of using it in DeFi mechanisms, a whole array of different types of DeFi, is super exciting, and it's fairly new utility for the digital asset. And I don't want to stop there, but that's maybe the 3 main core utility value props that the asset has. But there's more. Trust me, there's more. But those 3 are easy to stop at. It is something to behold when you talk about decentralization. And I think that many people admire that, and rightly so. And I think that with the new amendments that are coming and have recently been approved, which I hope we get a chance to talk a little bit about, we finally now are becoming a chain that is getting ready to really adopt institutional finance. The amendments like the most recent one, the multi-purpose token that just went through, which can embed really rich data, And we've got privacy coming, like I talked about, the permission decks. There are some features and benefits coming to the ledger that are going to allow for that institutional adoption, which is super exciting because prior to these amendments, it has really been the retail entities that have been using it. Originally, when I first got into the ecosystem, we were using XRP to tip each other, to give each other tips.
Yep, I
You know,
remember.
it was a transfer of value, and it was something that was built by Weitza Wind, who is part of XRPL Labs. He now has the Zaman wallet, and that was such a success, and it was so adopted that, again, that's another utility that really was embraced by the retail investors. And yeah, so I think that if you ask me why do people hold the digital asset XRP, some even now will tell you I hold it because I want to use it in a mechanism that's going to provide yield. And those new yield opportunities are now there. So yes, it's too hard to just give one answer why people hold XRP.